Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome back to build log number 3 of my Republic Gunship mock. As you saw in the time lapse, I was working on what sort of mounting system we're going to use to get the wings on attached to the main body. And so far that's being sorted out pretty well, but the problem is as more weight gets added to the back here, like with this mounting system here for the wings, and then with the wings and the engines and all this extra body paneling and stuff, this back end is going to become super heavy. It already is pretty heavy, which means that all the support for this giant top section can't come from what we figured out last episode for this attachment system here at the front. Last episode, I tried to sort of get started on that problem, but eventually just sort of like ignored it until this part to see how bad of an issue it was going to be. I want to have some support for the top built into the ramp that goes up and around to the gunship. The problem is this ramp has a couple of different angles in it, including this angle right here, there's another angle right here, and then two more before it connects with the main body of the ship. And the problem is, once any sort of weight gets applied to this this structure here, it's just going to kind of push those angles down, and then they're not going to be doing their job at all. And it's going to sort of just fall apart from there. So what we have to do is figure out how to get these angles that we want, these kind of just arbitrary angles, and then lock them in place somehow. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I have a couple of different ideas, but I don't really know how to execute them or anything. So that's going to be the first thing that we're trying to figure out this episode. So this is my first attempt-ish. I like wedged a bar in there under there so that this hinge can't move back further than I want it to. But unfortunately, this is actually still too much. Like, this angle is too high. As you can see with the body on here, this thing is like nowhere close to meeting where it has to go, which is that anti-stud 2x2 right there. So that means we'll have to try something else to lock this joint here. Alright, I think we have a working concept for what I wanted to achieve here. Instead of trying to lock that hinge right there at the bottom, we moved up to this joint right here. This isn't something that I realized I could do, but by adding an additional hinge inside of the body there, there's one for either side, this angle isn't allowed to adjust, which basically results in extra support up here for this attachment right here, where this big yellow piece attaches to this body. As long as it supports it in terms of downforce, not really anything else, but it doesn't matter because it's locked in place, you know, side to side, back and forth and stuff. Whereas the downforce, you know, the actual weight of the ship, gravity pulling down on this big element here is where we actually need the help. It helps some amount, but it could definitely help more. I don't really know how to make it help more. If I could go back, I would probably try and make this even stronger here at the front, but honestly, there's only so much that I could do. And same here for the back. I don't know what else I would really do different, so I think I'm just going to move forward with a concept like this. It obviously needs to be cleaned up a whole bunch, and we're going to figure out how it's going to integrate, you know, with the side panels and stuff like that, these walls, and then I got to get a bunch of white plates. The reason these are all multicolored is just because I don't have that many white plates anymore, so I'm gonna have to buy some of those. But that's where I'm at in terms of getting this thing to support itself. I think it's gonna do the job once it has the wings on there and stuff, and it'll work. And it's kind of like a cool looking, maybe, I don't know, it's not really an illusion, but, you know, where it's like there's just nothing back here besides this piece supporting all of the stuff here at all the stuff here up on top.
what I was going to do before. What I actually ended up doing was basically shortening the distance that this connector has to travel, which essentially raises up this entire top piece here, just the amount that I want. So now this the ceiling here above the hanger is actually parallel with the ground, which is what I wanted. And this is so much more stable than it was before. So I'm actually super happy with this solution. As you can see, I just put in like a little adjustable attachment in there with some lightsaber blades, but that gap is basically exactly like half a plate wide, that distance right there. So I could have tried to build this somehow out of jumpers. I didn't realize that until afterwards, and I don't really want to redesign it now. And this design works pretty well, and I don't know how I would necessarily do it with jumpers. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But I'm really happy that this was actually able to work out. So now I'm just going to kind of fill in this right here. I think I could just put tiles on top of this stuff and then build up the side paneling to help basically square away the back section. And then we're just going to be able to put the wings and the engines in that this big slot right here. And the gunship will actually be done in terms of the design work. After that, we're just going to have to go replace you know, all this different stuff with white pieces, and it'll actually be a completely finished model. Well, even though it's still in a pretty rough state, as is everything on this gunship, I think I figured out what I want to do with this back section here. As you can see, I'm just gonna kind of tile the sides, and with a little like 45-degree angle on the tiles there, they just perfectly line up where the body paneling from the front meets with them, which isn't something that I planned for, but it just happened to work out pretty well. I need to order some of those like triangular tiles to go right there, and then I'm going to replace those light gray ones with white, and then that'll actually be complete. I just don't have any of those triangular tiles. And yeah, the next step is to just basically figure out what we're going to do with this whole engine and wings section here, which I hope isn't too difficult compared to how everything else throughout this mock has worked out, you know, so far. And yeah, that's where I'm going to bring this build log episode to a close. If you enjoyed and stuff, you know, leave a like, share it with your friends or whatever. But I'm really happy with the progress that we made this episode. I don't know if it necessarily looks like we made a lot of progress just by looking at it compared to where we were in the last episode, but we really overcame probably one of the biggest concerns that I had with the design approach that we were taking, how we were going to make this structurally stable from the back end. It wasn't going to just be able to support itself from the front, and we were actually able to get it done in a much more sleek and cool and functional fashion than I thought we were going to be able to initially through just a number of different prototypes and attempts and stuff like that, and ended up working out pretty well. So now we pretty much just have one more big hurdle to overcome with this design, which of course is, you know, the whole wing thing. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. I have a couple ideas, but we should be able to do that in one episode. But in the meantime, I'm probably going to alternate back to working on that unnamed temple mock, or both of these are part of the same mock, but I want to sort of finish the temple and the gunship around the same time and not put too much effort into one or the other in a row, so that I, you know, don't get like burnt out or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'll see you guys hopefully next week. I can do another weekly video, and with that being said, I don't think I have anything else to say. I'll see you guys later. Bye.